Helen,
And I'm Liz,
and we're sisters
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
and this is We Want to Believe.
All right, welcome back.
Welcome back. As we said previously, this episode of the X-Files 3 has a reputation for being one of the worst episodes they ever made.
And was it?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. It was real bad.
Really?
Yeah, but I can't wait to talk about it. What to say? Is there any updates or announcements or anything we need to say before we dive into the episode, before I give you your quiz/game?
Ooh. I've been giving people quizzes all day, so it seems only fair.
It's only fair.
Yeah. I think so, right? You said you have a story, a listener story, or no?
Nope.
Oh, must have dreamt that.
Yeah.
I had a creepy
Maybe
dream
that's
about alien.
like you had a creepy dream about an alien?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what happened?
I don't remember. I just had a creepy dream aliens were in it, and then I woke up and went to the bathroom in the middle of the night and was afraid of aliens. Which never happens to me. I'm never afraid of aliens. That's not one of my things.
Yeah. Was it when we were little and we lived closer to corn?
Yeah. Oh yeah. After Signs came out, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Signs was terrifying.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I remember watching it with friends in high school and them getting mad because one or two of them hadn't seen it before, and some of us would like start to tense up before anything scary would happen because we knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think so. So I'm ready to dig into some bad vampire stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, as a vampire aficionado, I have some extra vampire stuff to share.
Cool.
The only other thing I was going to say is I got scared last night by something I was writing, which is just the stupidest thing. I'm not doing like full NaNoWriMo, but I decided I'm going to write a little bit each day and like
cool.
500 words. That's it. Like, because NaNoWriMo to achieve 50,000. Oh, if anyone doesn't know, that's National Novel Writing Month, and the idea is you write 50,000 words in a month, which breaks down to just over 1,600 words a day, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
Especially if it's on average, like,
right.
You know,
yeah.
Trying to do 500 words a day, which is really doesn't take like 15, 20 minutes. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I'm writing something kind of scary.
Ooh.
And it scared me when I had to get up and go to the bathroom. And
ooh, man, that's a sign of talent. I feel like that's good.
It's a sign of something. We'll say talent. Yeah.
Generalized anxiety disorder.
Yeah. Yeah. A little from column A, a little from column B.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing I actually did have more to say. I am dedicated to the idea of a spooky November because I don't really dig the vibe of November.
Okay.
And I like Halloween. I like spooky October.
Yeah.
And so my goal is to start making the spookiness bleed into November.
Sure.
And
how?
Well, I'm listening to Ghost Story, the podcast that Helen recommended previously. And
Isn't it good?
Oh my God. Have you heard all of it yet? Because I haven't heard all of it, but I've heard most of it.
No, I haven't. I'm on episode 3, I think.
Okay. Have you heard the Dorothy Sayers stuff in episode 3? The crime fiction writer from the 30s?
No, no.
Oh my God. Okay.
Scary?
We'll talk. Just insane. Just insane. Like, yeah, I can't. I was like by myself listening to this, just like, I need to talk to someone about this.
Oh, so, man. Yeah, it's too bad because well, I mean, too bad is perhaps too strong of a word, but when I was commuting all the time, it was nice. That's when I would listen to scary stuff, because when I'm like in my car, I feel very safe and secure. But when I'm like at home and the kids are asleep and I'm like cleaning and Zach is playing guitar, or embroidering, or like, whatever it is I'm doing by myself.
Embroidering seemed like a scary task, not the act of it, but just like, that's the task you'd be doing when a ghost visits you.
Right. Like. And so I don't want to listen. So yeah. So my time to listen to spooky stuff has been compromised. Because then when I'm at work, it like is then also too much. So I listen to like The Professor is In and Inside Higher Ed and The Dream. Uh,
I am. I just finished listening to season 3 of The Dream.
oh,
Um,
how'd you get it all right away?
I think it's done. I think it just came out this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's finished now. It's got like 9 episodes.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, well, I have one more to listen to then, I guess.
Yeah, I think it just came out yesterday,
Oh,
actually.
okay. Okay.
Um, but those other ones do not sound like my scene. I don't want to listen to Inside Higher Ed. I was listening to some travel agent podcasts, and I still do sometimes, but often I'm just like, no, I can't have more things that I'm supposed to think about for money. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the difference I think is that I listen to episodes that are about like why everyone is quitting
Yeah.
academia and I don't know, kind of like more social topics than
Okay, got it. Yeah.
strictly than
Not
like
like
giving
how
you
to
things
be a
to
better
do.
professor or something.
Right. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have those, but I'm yeah, those don't interest me quite as much.
Um, so Spooky November though, yeah. So
November.
I'm listening to that ghost story podcast.
Cool.
I am writing something spooky.
Cool.
And then I just wanted there to be a third thing, but I don't know what it is yet.
Ah. Hmm.
I'll work on that. Maybe I'll have one next week.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's what's new with me. And I encourage anyone else who feels kind of blah about November's vibe, be like, make it. I mean, look, time change happens, more darkness. Ooh,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. It just makes me want to drink hot chocolate and embroider
I
while
was just
listening
saying,
to podcasts.
I've left the part of the season where I drink apple cider, and I'm now moving into hot chocolate mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. With the time change comes the hot chocolate.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, cool.
I think those are my
Okay.
updates.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and we're gonna do a quiz.
Okay. I'm excited.
So,
I'm ready.
have you seen Basic Instinct?
Is it open note?
That's just a question.
No, but you know what? I want to because I just read an article right before Halloween. I was looking at some sort of, I think it was probably a Ranker article about like scary movies or something. It's with Harrison Ford, right? And Michelle Pfeiffer? No,
No, neither of those people.
no. Okay. Who's it with?
Michael Douglas and
Here.
Sharon Stone.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay.
I get the vibes and the era. Like they're
Yeah,
not wrong.
yeah,
I mean, they
yeah.
are wrong,
They,
but
um,
real way they are wrong. But
yeah. No, so I have not, but I want to.
I didn't see it till I was an adult, and I mean, it is batshit insane. Like it is wild. Like
Cool.
yeah, I mean, it's like kind of the first of those like early 90s erotic thrillers.
Right.
And and probably also the most famous,
Yeah.
But so I've seen it multiple times. I know it pretty well. And I watched this episode of The X-Files 3, and I thought that is kind of the vibe they're kind of sort of going with here is that early 90s, well, it is early 90s erotic thriller.
Huh.
Which is
Weird.
not a vibe The X-Files usually does.
No.
Maybe that's because they're real bad at it. I don't know. So I'm going to read you some statements,
Okay.
and your question will be, is this true about Basic Instinct, the episode 3, both, or neither?
Ooh. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Okay, we'll start with something very straightforward and not that exciting. Takes place in California.
Both.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
3 takes place in LA, and Basic Instinct takes place in San Francisco.
Okay.
In this piece of fiction,
Mhm.
a man with a sort of tortured, upsetting event in his past who works in law enforcement suspects a woman of murder, but sleeps with her anyway, and then falls for her and tries to protect her.
Ooh, I can't. I was just reading a synopsis of Basic Instinct, like I said, but clearly I got the two main characters awfully wrong, so I don't know that I retained much. I'm gonna say both.
That is
Again.
correct. Both. Yes.
Okay.
The female lead stabs someone.
Ooh, both.
That is correct. It has a fun, exciting twist ending.
Basic Instinct.
Very good. Definitely not 3.
Oh
Nothing
no.
exciting about 3.
Oh no.
The male lead mentions leprechauns.
3.
Neither. I just wanted to put one
Oh,
in. It was neither. Um,
I was
that
gonna
was
say, how would you have gone, like you rewatched Basic Instinct with like
just
a
Google
leprechaun
basic
filter?
leprechauns. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so I guess I should say definitely not 3. And I don't think it happens in Basic Instinct, but please let me know if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
listeners, if I forgot the pivotal leprechaun scene. Um, Opens with a sex scene between an older man and a younger woman whose face we don't see, and the man gets murdered
Both?
during that. Both. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Is Basic Instinct the one with the ice pick? Is there an ice pick in that?
Yes.
Oh, that's why I was reading about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And finally, vampires.
3.
Yes. Very good.
Okay.
Very good. You got all of them right except for the leprechaun question, which
Okay.
is fine. Yeah, so I really got this vibe, like that's what it was aiming for.
Weird.
And it sucks.
Oh.
Because Basic Instinct it's kind of trashy, but in an
Uh,
incredibly compelling way. This
okay.
is trashy in like a really irritating way. Um,
Oh.
like, okay, so again, we open with an older man. He's drinking a glass of red wine, and he's looking out at the hills, and he's talking about the fires in Malibu Canyon, which I guess there were some really bad fires in Malibu in 1993, which is the year before this would have been filmed, but I guess still possible. Um, and there's a woman inside, and he's kind of talking to her and being like, oh, I can almost see the fires from here, and it's very moody and whatever. And he's older. And you can tell she's younger, but you can't see her face that well. She's a
Okay.
brunette. And at first I was like, oh, he's hired a prostitute. But then he says, I don't usually do this, but when I met you at that corporate party or something like that, and I'm like, oh, so she's like his coworker? I don't know.
Huh.
So they start making out in a hot tub,
Uh-huh.
and you see there's a dude inside. I'm gonna call that guy the father for reasons that will be revealed later. Just go
Okay.
with it for
Is
now.
he someone's father?
I don't
That's
actually know.
the reason
Probably
that's going to be revealed.
it's not.
Okay.
There is no fun twist ending. But I need to call him by some name, and for
Okay.
reasons that will reveal later, I'm going to call him the father. He's
Okay.
got like, imagine how my hair looks on its worst day, like if I'd been sleeping and then I just woke up and went somewhere, like long brown hair that's like real ratty and messy. And he's, I don't know, middle-aged and kind of has a crazy look in his eyes. And he's getting out a syringe.
Oh.
And then the woman making out with the older guy in the hot tub bites him. And then
Oh.
the father rushes in, grabs him, and they kill the guy.
Okay.
And so I just want to point out, which one of us has the phobia of blood and needles? Me. Which one of us
Oh
had to do both
no.
the episode Blood and this episode? Me.
Oh no. Was there a lot of like
So much. So
oh
much.
no, really? I thought it would just be like vampiric.
Me too. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Why am I
Oh.
no more needles? It's okay. I
Oh,
mean, I cannot look. And I don't really think there's any X-File. I don't think there's any X-Files all about vomiting. Um,
yeah, I don't think so.
no. Although I'm
But
sure there's episodes that contain vomit.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
so much as like a trend that they're gonna like zoom in on over and over.
Hope not. What
Yeah.
oh, so there's okay. All right. Yeah, I know nothing about this episode.
And I have a feeling you're gonna have questions for me that I do not have answers for.
Okay. Okay.
So, okay, theme song happens, and then a little bit of a slightly compelling scene. Mulder's in the X-Files office, and as you told me, right, in the last episode, the X-Files are being opened once again.
Right.
And so Mulder's taking down the plastic sheeting, and you can kind of see, around the office, there's like a trashy calendar with a woman posing with enormous power tools, and he's changing it from May to November. And so it's got to be like November 94 now. And then you see that he's got like an X-File about Scully, and it has some stuff in it, and it's got her badge, and he's very sad, and he takes her cross necklace out and he puts it on.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and then the phone rings. New scene.
Mhm.
Don't know. Okay. Um, and then Mulder is now at a crime scene in LA. And it's the crime scene at the old guy's nice house with the hot tub and all that.
Right.
And LAPD is there and they're a little hostile and they're like, nobody called the bureau. And I don't think I delivered that line that well. I said it. I'm going to try that again. I don't think I have it. How would you say that? I don't know. No one called the bureau though. So he's like, why
Okay.
is, and Mulder's like, well, they should have. Okay. So I assume at this point, we're going to find out who that phone call was from. And I'm thinking maybe it's X because I haven't gotten an episode with X in it yet.
Right.
They never address it. No
Oh,
idea. No idea.
so no one called the bureau and there's no follow-up to that
Nope.
for how Mulder found the case?
Nope.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yep. He's there. He's looking very moody. And it's like, it's clear he's feeling really, really upset about Scully being abducted. Like,
Sure.
you can see how that's haunting him and everything. Now Mulder does say, so maybe this is kind of an answer. He's like, oh, there's 6 people dead in similar ways in 2 other states, and Mulder's been waiting for them to strike again. So maybe the phone ringing was incidental, and Mulder just heard about this.
Okay.
I don't know. It wasn't the greatest writing. So they kind of look around the house, and all the mirrors are shattered, and written in blood is John 52:54.
Oh, huh.
And so I'm like,
Bible,
and
right?
one of them, what'd you say?
Bible.
Bible.
Yeah.
And so I was, I watched this a couple of days ago and then I was kind of reviewing things today and I'm like, what exactly was it? Because somebody, either Mulder or somebody else, kind of quotes it and it's something about, oh, if you drink of my blood, you will have everlasting life or something like that.
Okay.
But I Googled it to get it exactly right. And the first thing that comes up when you search John 52:54 is a summary of this episode, which I thought was odd. But that's because there is no John 52:54.
What?
That quote is actually John 6:54. John 52:54 does not exist. It is not a Bible thing.
They couldn't have done some, like, that seems like a pretty easy one to, like,
I mean, they
find
got
out,
the 50,
right?
right? Like, what? I mean, it's not like they're going to be like, it's not like God is going to be like, hey, copyright. You can't, you have to make it a fake Bible verse, like when they have, a restaurant that's clearly meant to be McDonald's but isn't, or a, social media that's meant to look like Facebook or something.
Yeah. Oh, that is so weird.
Really weird. So yeah, we're getting a vibe here that there's something kind of biblical-ish going on, maybe. And Mulder is saying how, like, in Omaha and in one other city, I'll be reminded later. They've killed 3 people in each city, and Mulder finds a needle in the pull filter, like a syringe. And then the LAPD guy is being kind of nice and wants to help, and Mulder's just like, I work alone, and is very hostile. And it's clear he's upset about Scully. And then he says, I only need one thing from you. Would you like to guess what he needs from them? It is an actual object. It is a physical thing.
The guy's body?
No.
Nope. That's all I got.
A phone book. I know it's the 90s. I know he can't just Google this stuff. But again, it just seems like, so he just met up with them and everything, and all he needs is a phone book? Like,
yeah.
Okay. And so, because here's the thing, it's not like he's looking up something that he just gained this info at the crime scene. What he's doing is he's calling all the blood banks in LA.
Okay.
Because he suspects that whoever is doing this thinks they're a vampire, and probably they'd work at a blood bank, I guess.
Huh. Okay.
So, and so he's like, oh, I'm from HR. I have a question about your new hires, W4. We need some more info. And kind of like leading them into like finding out who has hired someone recently. And they're like, oh, you must mean John, the night watchman. Ha, that must be him. So he sneaks in at night to the rather well-secured giant blood bank facility. And indeed finds a dude. He's drinking blood from a plastic pouch like it's a Capri-Sun.
Oh, God, gross.
That is just like exactly what it was like a clear Capri-Sun full of blood.
Oh, gross. That's so nasty.
so gross.
Oh, geez.
It was somewhere around here that I'm like, wait, this is 1994. What have they not mentioned?
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, nothing about the AIDS crisis?
Huh.
Like, yeah. And they do mention it in a little bit, but not as much as I would think.
Yeah.
So, Mulder catches the guy, puts him in police custody, and he's screaming for the lights to be turned off. And, oh,
Oh,
you're killing me. You're killing me. And it's, you might think, oh, this must be the guy Liz described as the father. It
right.
is not. It is the same sort of look with like longish brown hair, like, and, I don't know, vaguely goth-ish, but he's younger. He's maybe in like his 20s.
So longish brown hair, vaguely goth. Are these like Vlad Tepes wannabes? Like, is that the long hair? Is that where we're going?
Never thought about it like that, but Vlad Tepes is going to get brought up in a way in a little bit.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting. So the police are very dismissive, and I want to be like, well, LAPD, early 90s. I feel like ignoring this guy's cries for turning off the lights, I feel like that's the least of bad things they do, right? This is
Yeah.
like years
Yeah.
after Rodney King. So
How many after? That was 91,
like
right?
91, yeah, like
Okay.
3 years after. And yeah, again, I just kept like feeling like, is there going to be any sort of reference to LAPD in the 90s? I don't know. Um, so Mulder though turns on like a red light, or like a light with like a red filter on it, and now
Uh-huh.
the guy can relax, and now he trusts Mulder, and he's like, "Oh, you know what we are." The episode never actually uses the word vampire. That's clearly a choice.
Huh.
I don't know why they make it though. Why they make that choice, I don't know.
Huh.
As I say about Archer, why you do this? Why so stupid? Um, like as if, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But they never use the word vampire, but it's clearly there.
Okay.
Um, and so at this point, this guy, his name is John, he says, I don't know, apropos of nothing, he is the father, I am the son, and she is the unholy spirit, which is just,
Ah,
so that's why I'm calling that one dude the father, because I need to
got
call
it.
him. And also, I just feel so unamused by John's whole shtick. Like,
Mm,
I don't know, people who take themselves very seriously and goth, I'm not into. I'm not into
yeah.
people taking themselves seriously anyhow, but
He seems like the kind of guy that would like have some sort of snake or lizard in his apartment and think that was cool.
yeah, absolutely. That
Yeah.
is the vibe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's like a snake apartment man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and to be clear to any of our listeners who are gothish, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
more the I take myself so seriously and I say important, pretentious things that sound deep.
Right. And I also love snakes. But yeah, it's that certain. Did we see some guy's apartment who had a snake? The sort of person that would have like swords on his walls and
Yeah.
black lights or lava
Yeah.
lamps.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like, I don't know, did I date him?
I don't think so.
No, not exactly. No, but I mean, like, or hang out with, like, it just sounds like somebody I would have ended up in their apartment in my early 20s or late teens and been like, God, this guy sucks.
Yeah. Mhm.
And he thinks
Yeah.
he's really cool. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
so that's John. I think you've basically got his number.
Okay.
And so she is the unholy spirit. And so he openly admits that he murdered this dude. And he's like, well, when a snake eats a fly, it's not murder. And Mulder says, frogs eat flies. And it's kind of funny. I think it was meant to be funny, and I liked that. There was one other line that I really liked. But it was bizarre. But yeah, you'd think the man clearly owns a snake, and yet he doesn't know that. I
Yeah,
mean,
for real.
you should know that if he's a snake owner.
Yeah.
So he's very much like, oh, I'm gonna live forever. Um, you know, uh, he's saying some things that don't make sense. He's like, I gotta live forever. When I'm killing people, I see the horror in their eyes as they realize there's no afterlife. And I would suggest that maybe you see horror in their eyes because they're being murdered. Um,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
seems like a reason.
Yeah.
That's not brought up. But okay, so his whole deal is there's no afterlife. what's the deal with all the Bible-ish references then?
Huh.
I'm asking you. I don't know.
Oh.
Um, so Mulder can clearly see this guy in a mirror. He's got a little mirror thing, but the guy's
Okay.
like, you can't. You can't see me. And it doesn't seem like Mulder actually thinks the guy's a vampire, but he's humoring him. Like even Mulder
Okay.
doesn't believe. And he's trying to get him to reveal the names of these other two killers.
Okay.
And the guy won't do it. So Mulder's like, the guy's in a cell where there's some like small windows with like bars. And he's like, look, the sun's going to come through there soon. I'm going to leave the detectives with some tinfoil and they can cover it up if you tell us the names. Otherwise, the sun's going to get you. I know what kill. He says something like, you know, I know what you are and I know how to kill you or something like that. No, that's not quite the line. I don't know. But yeah, he's like, if he wants to talk, cover the windows. So it's like a threat. And Mulder's like, he's delusional. I'm just trying to humor him. And the cops are like, okay, go to a hotel and get some sleep.
Yeah.
And oh, what is happening? Oh, what have I done? Oh, you weren't, I wasn't talking to you, Google. My phone is trying to find me hotels.
Oh, no.
I have a coworker friend named Gokul,
Yeah.
sometimes when he comes in my office, I say, hey, Gokul. And then my phone is like, yes.
Oh, no.
Um, so the cop tells Mulder to go get some sleep. And Mulder says, I don't have a hotel. I don't sleep anymore. Which I have sympathy. I get that they're trying to show that he is being self-destructive because of Scully being gone.
Yeah.
And I also feel like, haven't we seen what happens when you don't sleep in that
Yeah.
other episode? It's very bad.
Right.
But like no
It,
hotel at all, just to chill in.
yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I don't know, that's so unnecessarily dramatic. I feel like Mulder is not that sort of person. Like, not that like he wouldn't be not getting sleep, but it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I don't buy it.
Everyone in this episode is being their like best dramatic 14-year-old, I think.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Then to my surprise, the sun burns that man alive.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was neat. And
I
so
was not expecting that.
I was not either. I thought they're gonna show him like maybe his finger gets a little red and there's like plausible deniability or something, and he
Right.
decides to talk, but no, he's burned alive. And so the doctor and Mulder are like looking at him, and his body is super gross and red
Sure.
and covered in horrible blisters. And the doctor says it could be congenital erythropoietic protoporphyria.
Okay.
And porphyria is referenced in, one of both of our absolute favorite X-Files episodes, Bad Blood.
Oh, is it? I didn't remember that.
It's this line where Scully is listing off all the things it could be instead of vampires, and she mentions porphyria. I just feel like Bad Blood is the vampire episode we deserve after having had to watch 3.
Yeah. It's too bad because like vampires can be so great, you know?
So great. Absolutely.
I mean, the amount of vampire-based fiction that I have read and very much enjoyed. I mean, many, many, many books on my Kindle.
Yeah.
But yeah, not always.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to do a little bit of science and a little bit of background talk here because I was looking up porphyria, trying to find out how to spell it, and either Mulder or I think the doctor is like, look, people with so porphyria, you have photosensitivity, and they're like, yeah, you get small 2nd-degree burns, you don't get 4th-degree burns that kill you,
Right?
like,
you don't get set on fire,
right?
Yeah.
And it can cause a heme deficiency. Do you know
Okay.
what it is, or heme or something? Heme.
Heme. Yeah.
I know it's related to like, oh shoot, that word that starts with heme. I can't think of it now. Hemoglobin,
Oh.
right?
Yeah. Heme is like the active part of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the whole protein complex. Heme is the part where the binding of oxygen actually occurs.
And it's in blood?
Yeah, yep, red blood cells. Mhm.
Okay.
And
Um,
erythro, that refers to red blood cells.
and what about poetic? Because I checked this. It is actually,
Yeah,
that's the word. And I was like, surely not.
yeah, it's erythro, I think it said more like poietic, like
Okay, yeah, it
erythropoietic.
is spelled with an I in there, and I mean I was writing fast, so
Oh, yeah, erythropoietic or erythropoiesis. So erythropoietin is a hormone that stimulates red blood cell development. So like erythrocytes are red blood cells.
oh, I've heard that
Erythropoietin
term.
is what tells our body to make them.
Okay, okay,
The hormone. Mhm.
very good. Um, yeah, real words. Um, so the doctor also says, and yeah, the heme deficiency can be helped with small injections of blood. And I was like, no.
No.
And indeed, no. Um, yeah, it does sound like, so I looked it up and it said like the treatments are like avoid the sun, don't drink, and get injections of heme.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe that they just kind of made that jump. But the
Yeah.
guy kind of made it sound like, you know, like you're just getting somebody else's blood like as an injection. I don't know.
Well, I
I
mean,
guess it's not that different than a blood transfusion. So
right.
why does that not weird me out?
The difference is that there's, as far as I'm aware, no reason to inject small amounts of blood. So if you're injecting heme, you're injecting the component that the red blood cells need. If you're
Okay.
giving whole blood, then you're supplementing what they have because they have some sort of deficiency. But there would never be any reason to inject small amounts of whole blood.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
Good.
a thing, as far as I am aware.
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
Also, one of the treatments for a different type of porphyria involves that you have to eat a lot of carbs and a high calorie diet. And I was like, hey, that wouldn't be the worst news in the world if I
Yeah.
turned out I had that. I mean, no, I don't want, I meant if I
Right.
were a person that had that, I'd be like, well, that is a treatment I can get behind.
Right.
One of the treatments I saw for this, though, did say there can be therapeutic blood draws, which is effectively like bloodletting to reduce the iron in the liver. I was on the like clevelandclinic.org or whatever. Like it seemed like a real site,
Huh.
but it sounded like the Middle Ages.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about that.
me neither.
I do want to say though, porphyria, is that what the children are, or the girl is theoretically supposed to have in the movie The Others?
Oh, I bet she
I
is.
think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
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 Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. It is more common in children, I read.
Huh.
So, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um, so Mulder, or maybe the doctor says porphyria is what led to the vampire myths in Asia in the Middle Ages. Um,
That's
maybe,
possible.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's extremely uncommon, so it's
Yeah,
hard to imagine that that would create any sort of widespread myth.
it's
Given
far more likely that tuberculosis contributed to it. Um,
more about this,
yeah,
because I have some vampire. So I spoke to a historian who studied vampires.
Doc.
It is my husband.
Oh,
What did you say?
I said Jacques.
Oh, oh God. No, like a real one. Jacques is our vampire man in Paris that is crazy. He's not a vampire man anymore.
Yeah.
He's our former vampire man.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah.
I don't recommend having museums in your apartment as a sweeping
No.
statement. I feel comfortable making.
Yeah, or like, I don't know. I feel like maybe we'll save the stories about Jacques for some sort of bonus episode.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's a good idea.
they are numerous
Yeah.
and bizarre.
Yeah. But tuberculosis, yeah, there's some thought because it would cause bloody sputum, and so people would end up with blood around their mouths. It also causes rapid weight loss and night sweats, and
Are vampires known to be sweaty at night?
no, I was just listing tuberculosis symptoms.
I started reading your thing and it was really good, but I have to read more of it. I've only read like 3 pages.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Back to the podcast.
I studied tuberculosis for those who aren't aware.
Yes.
So it can cause bloody sputum, so it can make like you have blood around your lips. But a lot of times if there was an outbreak of tuberculosis, it could be thought that there was a vampire in the vicinity because of it causes extreme pallor. So it makes people super, super pale and weak and lose weight. So those can be associated with it.
A lot like what happens to Lucy in Dracula.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
This also is all like the right time period. It was me and the historian I was speaking to. So Adam, my husband.
Yeah.
Not Jacques, the crazy guy. He did some research on vampires and did a presentation on it at the university last year. And there's a lot of talk of how like the like modern concept of vampire really didn't come about until the mid 1700s, when the Austro-Hungarian Empire expanded and they sent out more people into Eastern Europe. And then it was around the time of like scientific revolution was over. It's the age of enlightenment. And they were like, we're getting a lot of firsthand eyewitness reports, which is like data that these things are real, these walking dead. Maybe it is. And they bring those stories back to like Vienna and discuss them and be like, can we solve this with science and explain it, or is it real?
Interesting.
And so the idea kind of spread from there, and like the first like vampire fiction and stuff starts coming out about like between 50 and 100 years after that.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Neat.
What I really was trying to like drill down on and like understand is I was like, okay, but how do all these Eastern Europeans have these legends? Where are those coming from? And I feel like TB or whatever. What I really wanted, what I was trying to force Adam into saying was maybe they're real. But he didn't say it and didn't even seem to notice that that's what I really wanted to happen. So I don't know about vampires in the Middle Ages, and I really don't think it makes any sense for porphyria, and I'm glad you agree with me. Mulder says to the doctor, can they be real? Oh my God, what's wrong with me? He mentions the word vampire right then. They don't say it otherwise.
Okay.
Mulder says, can they be real? And then this was my favorite quote of the episode. The doctor is in this one scene, and he says, you are really upsetting me on several levels. And it was just great. And then they discover that there's an ink stamp burned onto the skin of the dead guy, burned by the heat, and they can't quite make it out. And so the doctor brings over like a lamp and holds a lamp to it, and that makes it sort of appear. And the guy says, it's an old coroner's trick to make stamps appear. I don't know.
I'm friends with some coroners. I'm going to have to ask them.
And if they don't know it, it's probably because they're not old coroners. No,
that's true. Yeah.
So Mulder's able to read the stamp, figure out what club it went to, and go to that nightclub. And it's Club Tepish.
Oh God.
And there is a big picture of Vlad Tepish on the wall. It's like so this one that's like on the cover of the Historian, you know, like with the furs and the mustache and the long brown hair. So that is interesting that they all have the same hair, because we're about to meet another character with the same hair.
No kidding.
Yes.
Although if I remember correctly, Vlad Tepish's hair is more similar to mine than yours. Like I think he's got some curl to it. Right?
Yeah, I think he did. These ones have straighter hair. Speaking of your hair and my hair, I had a very frustrating conversation with some people last week in which 2 out of the 3 of them claim I have black hair.
Oh, that's so annoying.
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
Now, one of them was Adam.
Oh no.
Yes, he has long maintained that my hair is black. And I've said, no, no, my sister's hair is black. Well, technically, Helen's hair is almost black, or
Yeah.
maybe she hasn't, I'm like, but Helen's is basically black. Mine
Yeah.
is brown. And he'll be like, no, no, yours is black, hers is black. I'm like, but they're not the same color. You acknowledge that. And he said, yes, yours is light black. So I tried to
Huh.
say, that's gray.
Yeah.
That's what light black means.
I actually have something to say scientifically about this. Um,
Please.
so he's wrong. Um, no, it's frustrating because when I teach my students about like our sensory organs, so our eyes, ears,
Mhm.
nose, we talk about like our senses and sensory information, but how that's different from perception. That perception, like the way that we perceive the information coming through our sensory organs is coming from a different part of our brain. And so it's going to be different than what the sense is. So that's how like some people can see like that, the classic white and gold dress
Oh
versus
yeah, yeah.
blue and
I was
black
going to
dress.
ask it. So I wanted to ask if this idea I had, if this is an example of it or not.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how one time, I don't remember where I was, but I smelled a smell that was like kind of like urine, but also like air freshener. It wasn't a good smell, but
Yeah.
it made me happy. And so I took it in as like, this is a good smell. And I realized it's the smell of an airplane bathroom. And it made me feel like I was on my way to Europe.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Is that
That's
the same idea of like the sense and then the perception of the sense, or is
no,
that too many steps removed?
no, that's different. So that's more how we have a lot of our olfactory, so smelling nose stuff, being tied into our memory. So there's a lot of connections between um memory and smell. So like your example, or like when I smell this orange smell from Bath and Body Works, it makes me feel like I'm in the dorm showers, like that sort
Mhm.
of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I had some
Um,
like eighth
what I'm
grade.
talking about is exactly this, that, or like how, I'll see a skirt and be like, oh, that's a nice brown skirt. And someone else would be like, oh, it's army green. And I'll be like,
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah,
clearly brown. And someone
yeah.
else will be like, no, that, like those sorts of things.
Is it kind of like, okay, and maybe I should just be like, no, it's just like the example you gave. I don't need to keep pressing this. But would it be like, okay, let's imagine I'm at a park and there's some dogs, and there's a dog near me, and then it's a lab, and then there's another lab farther away. My eyes go large lab, small lab, and my brain goes close lab, far lab. Is it the being able to interpret the like visual data of knowing that dog is far away?
I don't know. I don't know if that is regulated in the same
Okay.
manner or not.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to think of another example.
Like other than sight or
Yeah, I mean,
I guess
another,
I mean I've had like there's songs where I
yeah,
clearly hear the lyrics as one thing and somebody else hears the lyrics as something else.
kind of, yeah, those sorts of things, or just, I mean, that seems more like just being able to tell what someone is saying. But like smells, I think it can happen to like, oh, like, okay, here's a story that doesn't make me look good. If we want one of those.
I feel like there's this weird implication that I've already told stories that don't make me look good
No,
today, and I don't think I have, but now I'm
no, that's
wondering.
not what I meant.
All right, Liz, we'll trade.
That's not what I meant. I don't know what I meant.
All right. So anyway, go on with the you not sounding good though.
Yeah. When I was in junior high or high school, I got home from school and walked in the house, and I smelled tuna. You
I
know where this
remember.
is going.
I do know where it's going.
Um,
Helen's been a vegetarian since she was 4 or 5, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah, I think I was 5.
Yeah.
And I am very not chill about the smell of tuna. It is one of my least favorite smells. And so I came in And again, I'd like to stress that I was young.
Yes, when
This
you're
wasn't,
young, you can't smell things properly.
no, 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 no. I
Who
mean,
knows?
the fact that I
Knows.
ran upstairs crying. And I said, "Is that tuna?" And our stepdad Bert was at home, and has a very typically Dutch, dry, sarcastic sense of humor, and just went, "Yes." And that's when I ran upstairs crying. It was popcorn, though. It was just
That's a
popcorn.
perfect example of this.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So most people would have walked in and recognized the smell of popcorn. I smelled tuna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
So this frustrates you with respect to the hair? Because to me,
Yes.
it sounds like an argument that maybe we're just interpreting hair colors differently and neither one of us is right. And I don't, me and Adam, and I don't like that conclusion. I want to be right,
Yeah.
obviously.
Same. I mean, yeah,
So
that
how
and
do we prove that
also
I'm right?
what?
How do we prove that I'm right?
Um, I don't know.
I mean, we like there's no way with science to prove my
No, I don't think, I mean, we could do some sort of I don't know. I'm sure there's some way to measure values of color using some sort of machine, but
I mean,
I don't know.
problem is like what color things are in different light also
Mhm.
changes. And my hair is black in the dark. Like
Yeah, I mean, he's flat out wrong about
he's
this.
wrong. He's wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your hair is not black.
Maybe we can have people
But
vote.
it's the same thing too. I call people blonde a lot
Mm,
because
yeah.
I do have such dark hair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would call Adam blonde. Would he agree?
Yes. Yes. He's blonde. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Um, but I have called people blonde and have them been like brown hair. And
Yeah.
to me, my hair is so dark. I see someone and
So
think
maybe
they're
that's
blonde.
why he's confused is because
Yeah.
he's blonde. That
Yeah.
any darker than like medium brown looks black to him.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's so far so much darker than his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be like, look at the rich mahogany tones. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really glad we're talking about your appearance because it's about to be very relevant.
Oh,
Because
no
Peter is
kidding.
in Club Tepish and he sees a woman looking in a like putting on makeup using a compact with no mirror in it, which is just I don't know, intolerable. I have such a low tolerance for self-serious goths. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that's partially my own background.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
not just my own high school experiences, but also I guess I should the boyfriend of a dear friend of mine in college.
Oh, I was thinking of your ex-boyfriend.
Oh, I mean, sure, obviously him. But again, I was like 15. I don't,
Yeah.
but it left me with a strong anti-dating goths,
Serious goths.
serious
Yeah.
goths. Well, I don't think I could date anyone who wears black velvet.
I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine for
Especially because you're like, 41.
yeah.
So like,
And
yeah.
I mean, and thank God that like, okay, Adam doesn't care about clothes at all. And sometimes it'd be like, oh, I want to like dress up. And he's like, I want to wear a t-shirt. And, it's like, oh, that's cool. That's your way. It'd be neat if you
Yeah.
were more in clothes. Nope. Not if it meant he might be in black velvet.
The only person who should be wearing black velvet is Prince, in my opinion. The only man.
And he died. So there
I
we're
know.
done.
So yeah, no one else.
I don't actually mean that. Rock stars, sure, do what you will.
No,
I
just Prince. I disagree.
Okay.
Or
What
Harry
about
Styles? Harry Styles can do it.
Okay. What about Steven Tyler?
I'd accept that.
Okay. All right. So there's a few exceptions. People could
Yeah.
apply for exceptions, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention leprechauns. When I was 15
Oh
and
yeah.
dating this goth, he wore a top hat a lot. It wasn't a good look. I'm
No.
also strongly anti-top hat. And
What about on leprechauns?
well, we talked about Helen. Do you remember this? plan because Helen is 6.5 years. So you would have been 10, 9 or 10.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
we discussed a plan not actually going to be implemented in which Helen would be dressed like a leprechaun and would dart out of the bushes and grab his top hat and run away with it. Um, and
Now that
yeah,
I'm thinking of this now, I think the best plan would have been to do that and then for me to like throw a bright green top hat back to like pretend I turned it bright green and now he is only left with like a happy color top
I
hat.
like that.
That's what I'd want to do now if I were to do this.
I mean, I think he lives in California.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know if he still wears a top hat though.
yeah, I'm probably too busy
Probably
anyway.
not. I like the idea though that that's what would be stopping us from doing this is just our schedules.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I've got too
um,
many meetings lately.
yeah. Um,
So,
so okay. So she looks like you basically.
oh,
This she she's very pale with black hair that's
okay.
maybe about your length or a little longer.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, she looks like you know. I mean, not to a creepy degree, but
Sure.
similar features. And she's kind of dressed, I don't know, normal-ish. And she's like, "Oh, are you going to ask what a normal person like me is doing in a place like this?" And I
Oh,
thought, well, I hate her.
yeah.
Um,
I would never say that.
no, you wouldn't, because I mean, you might say that you yourself are asking yourself that.
Sure.
Why am I here? I mean, because it was very, I don't know. You know how clubs on TV shows are always not very full? Like you can
Yeah.
just tell, like, this isn't,
Hmm.
it was one of those vibes, but with a big giant picture of Vlad Tepes.
I would not go to that bar. No.
No. So she orders 2 red wines and she says to Mulder, "You've lost someone, not a lover, a friend."
Oh,
Because she has, I don't know, vampire's intuition.
yeah.
Um,
That's weird.
yeah. And I also feel like, I don't know, it's one of those like psychic trickery things where you think if you say something vague enough, it'll apply to anyone.
Yeah. Like, who can't be like, think of someone who would match that, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's like, yeah,
I can,
yeah,
like
yeah,
immediately, right? Yeah.
right.
Um, and and Mulder kind of glances in her purse and sees she's got a syringe in there. Um, and he
Okay.
starts that John 52:58 whatever fake Bible verse, 50 whatever it was, doesn't matter, it's
52,
fake.
54. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mulder starts it and she finishes it. And then she's like, um, "You're afraid of me. I take the life of others." So she's acting like a vampire, I guess. And then we see the father.
Okay.
He's watching them from across the bar. Um, and she's just like, I don't know, saying a lot of really pretentious things, and it's
Mhm.
supposedly like a sexually charged sort of conversation, but it wasn't. It was boring and dumb. Um,
Yeah.
and then she uh, uses a syringe to prick her finger, which I am not happy about having seen,
Okay.
and then tries to get Mulder to lick it. And finally, um, there's a reference to AIDS, and he's like, "AIDS, aren't you afraid?" And she says, "I wish I could die." And I wrote, "I hate her."
I wish he could too.
Yes. Yeah. Likewise, lady.
Yeah.
Her name is Kristen, so I shall be referring to her as Kristen because that is her name.
Um,
Um, so she goes and she finds some other guy to lick the blood off her finger.
that's so dumb.
It's
That's
so
so
dumb.
dumb.
It's so dumb and gross and not, I mean,
Not
yeah.
vampiric at all either. Like,
No, it's kind
no.
of the opposite.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, Anne Rice vampires, in order to become a vampire, you have to drink from a vampire. Like they have to
Yeah.
bite you, you have to almost die, and then you have to drink a bunch of their blood and kind of back and
Yeah.
forth. Like blood seesaw
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
nodding well, sure. That's how they're made.
that,
Yeah. Of
that
course.
is exactly how you were nodding. Yeah.
Yeah. That is in other books too, was
Okay.
the nodding. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think that Anne Rice, I read Twilight
Twilight
because
was awful. That doesn't
no,
belong in this conversation.
thank you.
Yeah.
But I read it.
Yeah.
And then I read all the 90s Anne Rice books, and then I've read The Historian and I've read Dracula. And so I feel like the ones that had the most actually making someone into a vampire are the Anne Rice books.
Did
Um,
you never read the Southern vampire mystery, the Suki Stackhouse True Blood
I
books?
never did. I never did. I know
Oh,
you told me I should read a certain number of them.
yeah. Oh, you should start at, I can't remember if it's book 3 or 4,
Okay.
or maybe just book 2. I'm gonna have to ask my friend Molly. She would
Okay.
know.
Um,
I've
so
read a lot of vampire fiction.
yeah, I mean, it's good
Most of
stuff.
it good.
I mean, it's vampires are my favorite monster. And I
Yeah.
mean, I want to make it clear, like when I talk about, oh, we're going to do a vampire-based trip, or we're gonna, whatever. I always picture I'm gonna hunt vampires because I
Mm,
don't want to like if they're a little seductive, that's fine, whatever. But I
right.
really mostly want them to be scary. I
Yeah.
don't want a Twilight vampire who, oh, can only be in darkness because he's too sparkly. That does
Yeah.
not
No,
absurd.
I feel like no, I maintain what I said before. Twilight should not even be a part of the discussion
They
because
really
it
set the
doesn't.
whole back.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I like the idea of hunting them.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
I mean, which is weird to say because I'm pretty anti-hunting. So
Yeah. Well, it's different.
it it is a little different.
Yeah.
Get my camo and be like, oh, it's the first day of the season. I'm heading to Eastern Europe. Um, so then they go to Mulder follows as Kristen goes with this dude who sucked the blood off her finger. Mulder follows behind them in a car and they go to 8428 Melrose Avenue. And I don't know why they shared that address, but I
Oh,
wrote it down because it turns out it is in the same neighborhood that me and Adam just stayed in when we were in LA recently.
oh, no kidding.
To walk by it.
Whoa.
It's a nice neighborhood. It's like near like partially like Beverly Hills.
Ah,
Like it's nice. But there's like on the show, it looks kind of desolate, and there's a restaurant called Ra, like R-A, and it shows the like Egyptian god.
sure.
And Mulder says, the Father, the Son.
Oh,
And, and at this point, right now in real time, I'm realizing I'm spending so much time talking about this terrible episode. I just feel like I have so much to say, and I really want everyone listening to understand how bad it was.
I
So,
mean, we've taken a lot of tangents as well.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
yes, it's
That's
a terrible episode, but we didn't have to discuss sensory perception and my hair color.
we did it, but yeah,
Right. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But it didn't count. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So Mulder's watching her and the guy, and they're like making out, and it seems like there might be blood involved, like all over. And then you see another car pull up, and it's kind of going to be clear that it's the father.
Yeah.
And then the dude that she's with comes outside and shouts and punches Mulder and says, I don't know who you are, freak, but we're two consenting adults, which was also kind of an awesome line.
Yeah.
And so Mulder is inside and he's like, oh no, I'm sorry. Mulder's been punched. He's outside. Dude who said that goes back in and he's looking for Kristen and he can't find her. And then the father comes in and kills him.
Okay.
And so Mulder then is on the see, it's like the next day. He's on the scene with like forensics and he sees, oh, broken mirrors. Oh, there's the stupid contact or compact with no mirror. And he sees a big giant like industrial sized can of raspberry sauce dripping and realizes that's actually what they were doing was licking enormous amounts of raspberry sauce off each other, not blood.
Huh.
Um,
We're two consenting adults. We can lick raspberry sauce.
yeah. In alarming like a paint gallon sort of size. Well, I guess that's any gallon is the same size. Not and so Mulder has like a forensic dentist, which sounded
Ooh.
like your sort of scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the bites on him were done by 3 different people, which was curious to me because I'm like, all right, John is dead,
Right.
the son, and then I'm like, is it then Kristen and the father? And I was confused. So then we got like Mulder doing research, and he finds out that Kristen, her last name is Killar.
Oh
Like,
my God.
yeah. And so she lived in both Portland and Memphis, which is the towns where the other 2 killings happened. So he's like, she's the unholy spirit.
Right.
And I felt like, yeah, obviously. Okay. So he goes to her fancy apartment and they have a warrant and he finds a huge ass box of veterinary needles and a snake bite kit thing to extract poison, but it's all bloody. Yeah. Um, and oh God, yeah, I forgot about this part. This I He looks in her oven
Okay.
and he sees like it looks like a hoagie roll with like something inside it, like raspberry sauce maybe.
Okay.
And he immediately knows what's going on. And he says to the cops, she's gone. She's not coming back. And I'm like, did I just see a sandwich? What is happening? And so then it's like 2 a.m. and Mulder is in her apartment and she comes back. And he's like, they're after you, aren't they? I'm, Special Agent Fox Mulder. And he says that biting bread filled with blood is an Eastern European tradition for protection.
Oh, yeah?
I did only the most cursory amount of research on this, but I feel confident it's not true. And maybe it is. Maybe I'll look up more and it is, but I was just like, so what I believe what we saw in the oven was bread filled with blood that she just had waiting around.
Huh.
And
Uh-huh.
she could eat it.
Sure. Yeah.
Like you do.
I mean, being partially Eastern European ourselves, I feel like that's wrong.
We've heard about like the scary traditions of our people, like the
Yeah.
super pizza,
Yeah.
which is
I
a fly
also,
with human eyes, and it's a type of witch, and you have to cross your fingers and toes so it doesn't get you in the night.
yes. And I've my kids have been watching a lot of Vampirina lately.
So is there any blood hoagies?
No, you know what? This morning they were watching it and there's no blood at all. And like, yes, it's a children's cartoon, but why are they vampires? They have sharp teeth. They like, but why? What are they using
Did they
them
ever
for?
show them eating?
Yeah, they eat like weird, like spooky stuff, like eyeball soup and stuff.
Okay.
They never discuss where those eyeballs come from.
Hmm.
And also there, I have sent my friend Melanie too many texts about the fact that their chef is a skeleton. And as an osteologist, I just have a lot of questions about how he's standing and why his bones are shaped the way they are. And I realize these are unanswerable questions, but I have a lot of
You should
thoughts
get
about
really deep
Vampirina.
into the Vampirina lore. I bet there's a community. Like,
Yeah. Well, like, okay, I'm sorry, I have to. But
Mhm.
in the theme song, she said something about like I may be blue with pointy teeth.
Mhm.
Um, and like she is blue, her and her family are. But
Okay.
then it's like I always took until I realized what she was saying in the theme song. Your hair looks nice, by the way.
Good. That's what we're going for.
Um, in the theme song, or I always thought like the blue was like to signify how pale they were, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but she mentions being blue, and so it's like what the people of Pennsylvania are so stupid that they can't tell that you're blue and have pointy teeth. And
And
like
we also have relatives hailing from Pennsylvania, and they're not that stupid.
I know, and I am offended on behalf of both Pennsylvanians and Eastern Europeans that they have gotten so many things wrong. This
You should write in.
I should write in.
Podcast should start a letter writing campaign.
Yeah.
We could make a real difference.
More blood drinking in this
Yeah.
children's program,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. I mean, do they sleep in coffins?
No, they have beds. And they can be out in the daytime. Like there's nothing
At what point is a vampire even a vampire at that point, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
These are the philosophical questions
Yeah.
I'm looking for answers to.
Yeah. Have you watched What We Do in the Shadows?
No, but people keep telling me to.
You're right. It's really,
Okay.
really it's
Okay.
really good. Just
Okay. What's it on? Hulu?
Hulu. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
You know if you
Okay.
want to
So let's
okay.
wrap this up.
Let's wrap this up because it's going to get real stupid. So Mulder is like, she's protecting herself with this bread blood.
Sure.
And so he's like, they're going to try to kill you. And they're kind of, dancing around the vampire word and, not really saying it. And it's all very meant to be sexual again, but really stupid. He brings up Memphis and Portland and like,
Uh-huh.
hey, you lived there. So like, I kind of get this lady. I don't understand why he was like, she must be the killer. This is where she lived. Oh, but she's got bread filled with blood. So actually, I need to protect her.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so she explains like she had a very bad childhood. She was beaten by her dad, and then her mouth was filled with blood, and she realized she was alive. And then she met John and the son, and he also bit her or he beat her, and then they like got into blood stuff. And then she lost him. Unclear what that means. I don't know, maybe in like a
Okay.
Walmart. And then so she moved around the country to avoid him, and he followed her to Memphis and Portland. So the implication is the murders happened there by John. She didn't do it.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
she needed protection from him.
guess. Yeah. So Mulder
Huh.
says, John's dead. The
Yeah.
sun burned him up. And she's like, oh, well, I'm not going to go into protective custody. I'm fine then. Without John, they're not going to come for me. Then Mulder is shaving,
Okay.
like you do when you're staying at a person's new place and you have real good priorities.
Oh, he's
And of course,
staying
there's
at her apartment?
gas. It's like the middle of the night, and he's going to shave. He's with her in her apartment,
Huh.
and there's no mirror. So she shaves him with a straight razor, and it's like, oh, is she going to cut his neck?
Oh my God.
I don't know. It was really dumb. And then they sleep together.
No, Mulder.
Your voice is doing that thing mine did, where you got too high in indignation when you told me that I might commit mass murder under the right circumstances.
I am very indignant. Yeah. I mean,
So
look, listen, I get that Scully is kidnapped or whatever, and he might be feeling self-destructive, but like, you gotta have some standards, right? Like, come
right,
on, man.
right. It's not like even sleeping with that awful British woman who was his friend in the episode
Yes,
Fire would be better than this.
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So who's looking in through the window while they have sex?
The father?
No, John. He's alive.
No kidding.
Yeah. So Kristen like gets up in the night while Mulder is sleeping, and John is in the house, and he's like grabbed her and he's like, we come back. It worked.
Oh.
There is no explanation of like how'd he get out of the morgue in the little drawer or whatever. I don't know. And so he gets a knife, and he really wants Kristen to kill Mulder because let me see if I'm saying this right. Mulder believes in them being vampires. So she needs to drink the blood of a believer in order to become a vampire herself because she isn't one.
Huh.
She
Okay.
doesn't want to kill Mulder, but well, we're not sure. And so she goes in and she's got a big old knife, like a big butcher knife. And she's like, Mulder, you gotta go. And she's got it behind her back. And then Mulder's like getting up to go, and she gets at the knife, and she suddenly is like, stab, 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 of this guy standing in the shadows. And the father was there all along, and you couldn't see him. And so she stabs him a bunch, and he's
Okay.
dead, I guess. And then John comes in, and John attacks, and Mulder and John fight, and Mulder restrains him. And Mulder has some blood on him, I guess, maybe got hurt in the fight. Kristen's all out of it. They get in the car, they're going to leave. Another woman jumps onto the roof of the car and drags Mulder out of the car. Who is this woman? I guess she's the Holy Spirit, the unholy spirit.
Oh.
She's got the same hair as everyone else in this episode.
Huh.
And we've never seen her before. It does not feel like a big reveal. It feels like, oh, there's some lady here now. And Kristen hits the woman with her car, and there's a wooden stick pointing out of the wall that as she hits the woman gets impaled on the wooden stick. And so Mulder's like, we got to go. The Malibu fires are coming. And so Kristen's like, well, I won't leave without John. We can't leave him here to die in the fires.
Why?
Which is ironic because the next move is, okay, I just watched this and I
Yeah.
watched it multiple times. So I'm telling you, this is all I've got.
Sure.
Mulder goes in the house to get John.
Yeah.
Kristen drives away in the car.
Oh.
Next scene, Mulder, because his car he left somewhere else down the road.
Okay.
Mulder is down at his own car.
Okay.
Kristen is in the house. She goes back into the house and she's pouring gasoline all over and she's going to light it on fire and kill them all. And
Oh.
John's like, you can't kill us. You're not one of us. And she's like, well, I'm going to become one of you. I tasted the blood of a believer, of Mulder. And he's like, yeah, but you haven't taken a life. And she's like, well, I'm gonna take my own and all of ours. And so she throws down a match. Okay. A little bit of science, or maybe just thinking about science as a field that we know exists.
Yeah.
She's poured gasoline on the floor.
Uh-huh.
She drops a match. Mulder is a block away at the car, and he sees the biggest fucking fireball, this enormous explosion, like an oil tanker exploded or something, like this huge, massive explosion that completely destroys the house. And Mulder sees it from a distance, and then we go, and I should mention what Mulder's been wearing for all of this. It is black pants, a white button down, unbuttoned most of the way, and Scully's cross, just so you can. And so
oh my gosh.
He goes and he talks to the firefighter, and he says, did you find bodies? And they're like, yeah, there were 4 bodies, but they were, burned beyond recognition. And Mulder kind of looks at the cross. And that's the end of the episode.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
I thought, oh, we're going to see a reveal that they're not really dead.
Yeah.
Or something. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought a lot of things. It was terrible.
Oh,
man. It was so self-serious. It was like, it was like trying to be a 90s erotic thriller with really irritating, pretentious vampires.
Oh man, that's awful. Well, thank you for taking one for the team.
Yeah.
Watching that.
Literally. Yeah.
Ooh, what's next?
Up next is One Breath, when they find Scully. Yeah.
Sorry.
His face shows the right expression, which is, oh, I'm going to get a really good episode again.
Yeah. What's after that?
Oh, that's a good question. What is next after One Breath is Firewalker, which
that sounds familiar, but I don't remember what that is.
Yeah. I feel like I think I mean, it's like another active Mulder and Scully going somewhere one.
Yeah. It doesn't, I don't remember anything terrible.
No, I'm sure it'll be better than what I just watched.
Yeah, I think it would have to be.
I think literally any other episode would be.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Huh. Well, thank you for your service.
You're welcome. It was a treat to spend a lot of time talking about how much I hated it. And like I said, there was a little bit of good stuff with Mulder being sad and like 2 lines that I didn't hate. So.
Wow, man. Yeah. Did we get like some like shirtless David Duchovny?
Not entirely. Yeah, maybe. But like, I think he was shirtless while she was shaving him. So it's like, I can't appreciate it. I'm so annoyed. Know, it's just like, yeah. I felt so irritated by the reveal that it's like, surprise, other brunette lady, like. But yeah, you should watch Basic Instinct because it's ridiculous. It's quality trash. Like it's just. Yeah. Let me say this. As a novelist, I really enjoy it because one of the ideas is that the way these murders happen are things that she wrote about in her books. And so it's like, she couldn't be stupid enough to murder someone in the way she wrote about in her books. But what if she's doing that because she knows that's what people will think? And so, I mean, it's just bananas. I love it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, great. Well, rate, review, subscribe, send us your spooky stories.
We want to believe pod at gmail.com and we want to believe pod on Instagram.
Yep. And you can DM us on Instagram if that's easier. And until next week.
Yay.
Okay.